Diane's heel struck the hardwood like a gavel, each click a verdict I hadn't braced for. The mahogany table glowed under flickering candlelight, its polish mocking the wilting roses at its heart, petals curling like secrets no one dared to name. I, Clara Hayes, had poured 6 hours into this Thanksgiving feast, 20 plates set with care, each one a silent plea. Gluten-free stuffing for Aunt Vivian, her fork already poised. Vegan risotto for Hannah's boyfriend, steam curling upward. Dad's roast chicken. The best, he'd say, though he'd barely touch it. My hands, raw from chopping, smelled of time, exhaustion, devotion. I adjusted a napkin, smoothed my apron, checked every dietary need. Perfect or close enough. Then Diane, my mother, swept in, her silk scarf trailing like a warning. She scanned the spread, lips twisting into a sneer. "We should have ordered takeout," she said, voice slicing through the chatter, loud enough for every cousin, uncle, in-law to freeze. "This looks like a waste." My father, Ronald, chuckled, eyes fixed on his wine, unbothered. Marcus, my brother, smirked into his napkin, his glance darting to me, sharp, knowing. 20 faces chewed my food, sat in chairs I'd dusted, sipped wine I'd poured. Not one spoke. Not one looked up. I gripped my recipe book under the table, its leather warm, pages worn from years of meals I'd crafted to hold this family together. My pulse thudded, but my face stayed still, a mask I'd perfected. Diane lifted a glass, toasting her own wit, and Vivian laughed, too loud, too quick. Hannah's eyes flickered to mine, hesitant, then dropped. The candles sputtered, wax dripping like tears I wouldn't shed. Something snapped inside me, not loud, not yet, but heavy, final. I didn't yell, didn't cry, didn't beg for their defense. I sat, silent, my fingers tracing the book's spine, its weight a promise I hadn't named. Marcus's smirk lingered in my mind, a shadow I couldn't place, his napkin folded too neatly. The recipe book pressed against my thigh, its edges sharp, a relic of labor they'd never see. I exhaled, slow, steady, the air thick with rosemary, betrayal, unspoken plans. They ate, they laughed, they forgot me in the glow of their own voices. But I didn't forget. I didn't forgive. The table I'd set was theirs for now, but the truth I'd take was mine. What do you do when the feast you craft becomes the stage for your breaking? "Clara, you tried," Diane sneered, her silver serving spoon flashing, engraved initials catching the candlelight. The heirloom scooped my mashed potatoes, her wrist flicking with disdain, as if my 6 hours in the kitchen were a child's scribble. I, Clara Hayes, stood frozen, my recipe book clutched under the table, its leather edges biting my palm. The dining room hummed, 20 relatives chewing my food, their silence louder than the clink of forks. I didn't flinch, didn't blink, didn't break. I rose, slow, deliberate, my apron strings tugging like chains I'd worn too long. I untied them, let the fabric fall, draped it over my chair, a flag I'd never raise again. "Order takeout next time," I said, voice steady, cold as the November air seeping through the window. "I'm not your staff." The words landed, sharp, final, a blade no one saw coming. Aunt Vivian's laugh erupted, too loud, her wine glass raised. "Oh, Clara's dramatic tonight." Marcus snorted, leaning back, his eyes glinting. "Relax, sis, it's just mom being mom." Hannah's gaze flickered to mine, hesitant, then dropped to her plate, her fork still. They thought I was joking, a tantrum they could brush off like crumbs from the table I'd set. Diane's spoon gleamed, still in her hand, a scepter of her control, her smirk daring me to react. I didn't. I walked to the kitchen, recipe book in hand, its weight heavier than the tray of roast chicken I'd carried. The air smelled of sage, regret, 34 years of swallowing slights. I wasn't dramatic, wasn't sensitive, wasn't their servant. I was done. In the kitchen, the sink overflowed with pans I'd scrubbed, their grease clinging like the family's expectations. Marcus's words echoed, just mom being mom, but his glint stuck, a shadow of something calculated, a deal I hadn't seen. I set the recipe book on the counter, its pages whispering meals I'd cooked to keep them whole. My phone buzzed, Marcus already texting. You good? Don't take it personal. I ignored it, my fingers tracing the book's spine, a vow forming in the quiet. They ate my food, sat in my chairs, ignored my stand, but I'd make them feel the absence of the hands that held them up. The candles in the dining room flickered, their light dimming as I stood alone, the spoon's shine still burning in my mind. I didn't yell, didn't cry, didn't beg for their respect. I planned, I waited, I began. When does a single stand become the spark that burns it all down? One click, and the Airbnb vanished, its confirmation email dissolving into digital dust. I, Clara Hayes, sat in my home office, the monitor's blue glow carving shadows across my face, my recipe book open beside me, its pages scarred with notes, my labor. The locked filing cabinet loomed, its steel glinting, a fortress holding the family's lifelines, calendars, budgets, itineraries, all built by my hands. Christmas cabin bookings, New Year's ski lodge, summer beach house deposits, every detail in my name, paid from my accounts, managed in silence. I opened the cloud drive, its folders pulsing like a heart I'd kept beating. My fingers hovered over the delete button, steady, unyielding. Another click. The ski resort booking faded, its dates erased, no trace left. A third. The shared Google Drive, every spreadsheet, packing list, meal plan collapsed. A house of cards I'd built, now ash. I didn't scream, didn't cry, didn't hesitate. The air smelled of coffee, defiance, the faint metallic tang of the cabinet's lock. I saved one time-stamped backup, a quiet choice, a weapon I might need. My phone buzzed, Marcus's name flashing, his text sharp. You okay after dinner? Mom's just intense. I ignored it, my eyes on the screen, its glow dimming as I closed the laptop. The recipe book lay open. A recipe for Diane's favorite pie staring back, its margins stained with my handwriting. I shut it, hard, the sound a gunshot in the quiet. 34 years of carrying their weight, vendor calls, flight bookings, holiday menus, lifted, my shoulders light, my breath free. I locked the filing cabinet, its key cold in my palm. A vow sealed. The dining room's candles were snuffed out now, their wax hardened. The table empty, my apron still draped over the chair. They'd eaten my food, laughed at my stand, thought I'd bend again. But I didn't bend, didn't break, didn't beg. I dismantled, deleted, disappeared. Marcus's text glowed unanswered, his words too casual, a mask for something I'd soon uncover. The backup file's timestamp blinked in my mind. 11:47 p.m., a detail they'd never see coming. I leaned back, the office chair creaking, the night outside thick with November chill. Diane's silver spoon flashed in my memory, her sneer, her control, her mistake. They relied on my systems, my silence, my sacrifice. Now they'd face a world without them. I wasn't angry, wasn't bitter, wasn't theirs anymore. I was weightless, a shadow slipping free, a spark ready to ignite. What happens when the hands that held it all together let go without a sound? Diane's text lit up my phone, sharp, demanding, "Plan your brunch, Clara, you know the restaurants." I was 34, staring at the screen, the coffee pot hissing in my kitchen, its bitter steam curling like the resentment I'd buried. I, Clara Hayes, booked the table, paid the deposit, arranged the mimosas, all for my own birthday. At the brunch, Diane sipped her drink, grimaced. This coffee's weak. Marcus handed me his phone. Take pics, sis. I snapped the shots. Smiling faces, clinking glasses. None with me. The recipe book sat in my bag, its leather worn, a silent witness to decades of my labor. I was 10, setting the table, napkins folded just so, Diane's snap looming if I missed a fork. At 23, I planned Dad's retirement party, wrote his speech, juggled my job, stood in the corner as he toasted family effort. No one thanked me, no one noticed. At Marcus's wedding, I was the backbone, booking vendors, calming Diane's rants, eating cold chicken in the kitchen while they danced. You're so good at this, Clara, they said, their praise a leash, my skill a cage. The recipe book held the wedding cake recipe, my handwriting smudged, uncredited. That birthday, I didn't cry, didn't yell, didn't beg for their eyes. I paid the bill, left the restaurant, stopped picking up their dry cleaning. Their texts piled up, unanswered. My phone's buzz a fading echo. I started a hidden log, every family expense, every dollar I'd covered, tucked in the recipe book's back page, a quiet tally they'd never see. Marcus's smile at the brunch flashed, too slick, his sis too easy, a mask I'd soon unpeel. The book's pages whispered, each recipe a debt I'd paid in silence, love I'd poured into plates they'd never taste. The air smelled of coffee, regret, the faint ink of my notes. I wasn't ready to break, wasn't ready to burn, but I was ready to bend. I let their calls drop, let their plans waver, let my absence creep. Diane's voice echoed, "You know the restaurants." Her words a chain I'd carried since childhood. The filing cabinet in my office stood locked, its secrets safe, my backup file time-stamped, waiting. They thought I'd always carry their weight, always smooth their edges, always stay. I closed the recipe book, its spine creaking, the wedding page dog-eared, a clue I hadn't yet read. My fingers traced the log, numbers climbing, a truth I'd soon wield. I didn't need their thanks, didn't need their love, didn't need their leash. I needed me, my hands, my fire. The kitchen clock ticked, steady, relentless, counting down to a reckoning they couldn't imagine. When does the love you give become a debt they'll never repay? Marcus's email glowed on my screen. A betrayal hidden in plain text? $2,000 for my travel rewards points. I, Clara Hayes, sat in my office, the filing cabinet's steel glinting. My recipe book open to the wedding cake page, its margins smudged with my notes for his big day. Those points, earned booking their flights, their vacations, their lives, sold, pocketed without a word to me. The timestamp read 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. His best sister toast at his wedding, now a lie, his arm around his bride, never me. I didn't gasp, didn't curse, didn't call him out. My fingers moved, steady, cold, transferring the $2,000 back to my account, the PayPal's balance zeroing out. One click, the account closed, its access severed, a door slammed shut. I locked the filing cabinet, its key biting my palm, the air thick with ink, coffee, quiet rage. The recipe book stared back, its cake recipe a relic of my devotion, their greed. Marcus's smile flashed, too slick, his text too casual. A thief hiding in plain sight. My phone pinged, Marcus's name flashing. "Hey, ski lodge deposit bounced, fix it." I let it sit, unanswered, the screen dimming. The game had changed, their rules erased, my hands rewriting the board. I opened an encrypted email draft, blank for now, a spark I'd ignite later. The monitor's glow flickered, casting shadows on the book, its pages whispering debts I'd no longer pay. I didn't need his excuses, didn't need his lies, didn't need their weight. Flashbacks stung, sharp, relentless. Marcus's wedding, me in the kitchen, smoothing Diane's tantrums, booking florists, eating alone. "You're the backbone," he'd said, his grin wide. My labor, his profit. My 34th birthday, his phone in my hand, snapping their joy, my face absent. The expense log in the recipe book's back page grew. Every dollar I'd covered, every trip I'd funded, a truth they'd never faced. His email's timestamp burned, 3:14 a.m., a secret he thought safe. The office clock ticked, steady, unyielding, the November chill seeping through the window. Diane's silver spoon flashed in my mind, her sneer, her control, her son's mirror. They took my work, my points, my years, thinking I'd always carry, always fix, always stay. But I wasn't their bank, wasn't their servant, wasn't their fool. I leaned back, the chair creaking, the draft's cursor blinking, a promise I'd keep. Marcus's text glowed, unanswered. A plea he didn't know was too late. The recipe book's spine creaked, its wedding page dog-eared, a wound I'd turned to fire. I didn't confront, didn't rage, didn't break. I planned, I reclaimed, I began to burn. What do you take back when the family you served steals your worth? "Clara, where's the cabin booking?" Diane's text blazed across the family chat, a scream in digital ink. I, Clara Hayes, sat in my office, the filing cabinet steel glinting, its lock unyielding, my recipe book closed on the desk, its pages silent. The monitor's glow faded, the cloud drive erased. Every calendar, budget, itinerary I'd built, gone. Christmas loomed, and their group chat exploded, frantic, unraveling. Who's got Nana's flight? The drive's dead, my files. Marcus texted alone. Clara, we sent the deposit. What's going on? No deposit existed, not since I'd shut the PayPal. His $2,000 theft still burning in my mind. I didn't answer, didn't flinch, didn't care. Diane's email landed, sharp, commanding. Clara, this isn't fair. Fix it. I let it sit, unread. The screen's hum, the only sound. The air thick with paper, dust, defiance. Hannah messaged, soft, worried. You okay? They're freaking out. I typed, I'm fine. Muted the chat, watched their chaos unfold, a storm I'd unleashed. Their panic was loud, desperate, clawing, but my silence roared louder, a truth they'd never grasped. They needed me. I didn't need them. The recipe book's spine gleamed, its wedding cake page a scar, Marcus's betrayal etched in my notes. I opened my laptop, drafted a group message, cryptic, unsent. You'll see what I carried soon. The cursor blinked, a pulse, a promise for their Christmas Eve reckoning. The filing cabinet stood, locked, its contents erased, my power sealed inside. Their texts piled up, buzzing, unanswered, each one a plea, a crack in their facade. Marcus's tone shifted, too urgent. Clara, call me, we'll sort this. I ignored it, his desperation a mirror to my years of unseen labor. Flashbacks flickered, sharp, unforgiving. Me, 10, folding napkins to dodge Diane's snap. Me, 23, planning Dad's party, unthanked. Me, at Marcus's wedding, alone in the kitchen, his backbone now his bank. The expense log in the recipe book's back page whispered, dollars I'd spent, points he'd sold, a ledger they'd face. The office smelled of ink, resolve, the November chill seeping through the blinds. Diane's silver spoon flashed. Her sneer, her son's echo, their greed a weight I'd shed. I leaned back, the chair creaking, the unsent message glowing. A spark I'd ignite. They thought I'd fix, I'd carry, I'd stay. But I didn't mend, didn't lift, didn't waver. I watched, I waited. I wielded silence like a blade. The chat's frenzy grew, their plans crumbling, their world tilting without my hands. Hannah's text lingered, her worry a crack, a sign someone might see. But not yet, not now, not until I chose. How long can they flounder before they face the truth I've hidden? Clara, you've made your point, Diane's voice cut through the Zoom call, tight, commanding, a queen on a crumbling throne. I, Clara Hayes, sat in my office, the monitor's glow carving my face, the filing cabinet locked, its steel glinting like a silent ally. The Christmas Eve call framed their faces, 20 glowing squares, Diane's silver serving spoon propped on her table, a prop of her fading reign. Marcus leaned in. Yeah, sis, don't tank the holidays, fix it. Their words landed, heavy, entitled, blind. I unmuted, my voice calm, sharp, a blade honed in silence. I'm not tanking anything. One click, I shared my screen. A spreadsheet loading, stark, undeniable, Marcus's $2,000 reward sale. Timestamps, bank details, my labor stolen. Gasps rippled, Hannah's eyes wide, Vivian's glass frozen mid-sip. You profited off my work, I said, each word deliberate, cold, final. You all did. Diane's spoon glinted, her jaw tight, Marcus's smirk gone, his face pale, exposed. I muted, left the call, the screen blackening, the air thick with static. Justice, ink. The recipe book lay closed, its wedding cake page a ghost, my betrayal etched in its margins. I locked the filing cabinet, its key cold, my fingers brushing a printed expense log, every dollar I'd spent, a truth I'd soon mail. Their chat exploded, muted on my phone, their panic a symphony I didn't need to hear. Diane's email flashed, this is unacceptable. But I didn't read, didn't care, didn't bend. The spoon on her table wasn't hers anymore. Its shine stolen, her control cracked. Flashbacks burned, quick, merciless. Marcus's wedding, his best sister toast, my labor, his profit. My birthday, his photos, my absence. The log in the recipe book's back, my points, their trips, their greed. The spreadsheet's timestamp, 3:14 a.m., glowed in my mind. A secret I'd wielded, a lie I'd shattered. The office smelled of paper, resolve, the December chill seeping through the blinds. They thought I'd carry, I'd fix, I'd stay. But I didn't lift, didn't mend, didn't flinch. Hannah's text blinked. Clara, I'm sorry. A crack in their wall, a voice I'd hear later. The expense log sat, printed, ready, a final gift I'd send. Their faces replayed, frozen in that Zoom square, their trust crumbling, their lies exposed. I leaned back, the chair creaking, the monitor dark, my breath steady. I didn't shout, didn't rage, didn't need their guilt. I struck, I revealed, I reclaimed. The spoon's glint faded in my mind, Diane's reign over, my power rising. The call's echo lingered, their chaos unfolding, a stage I'd left behind. They'd scramble, they'd blame, they'd beg, but I'd already moved, already planned, already won. What falls first when the truth you hid lights up their lies? I tore the first page from my recipe book, its edges curling, blackening in the cabin's fire. I, Clara Hayes, stood alone, snow dusting the windows, the wood stove crackling, its warmth a shield against the December chill. The book lay open, heavy with dishes. Diane's pie, Marcus's wedding cake, Dad's roast, recipes I'd never cook again. One by one, I ripped them out, fed them to the flames, each page a chain, a debt, a roll I burned away. I wasn't erasing recipes. I was erasing their hold, my hands steady, my heart light. The filing cabinet stayed locked, its steel heart empty, my systems gone, their chaos no longer mine. My phone buzzed, Hannah's text glowing. I'm sorry, Clara, I didn't see how much you carried. I typed, you see now, and set the phone down, its screen dimming, their world fading. The cabin smelled of pine, smoke, freedom. The snow outside soft, silent, a canvas for my new start. I packed a small box, tissue paper crinkling, a quiet choice, a final gift I'd send later. Flashbacks flickered, faint, fading. Me, 10, dodging Diane's snap, setting her table. Me at Marcus's wedding, alone, unthanked. His profit, my labor. My birthday, their photos, my absence. The recipe book's ashes swirled, its wedding page gone. Marcus's betrayal a ghost I'd banished. I didn't need their guilt, didn't need their eyes, didn't need their weight. I joined a hiking group, women who spoke of books, trails, dreams, not burdens. Their laughter a balm, their steps a rhythm I matched. I started therapy, not to mend, not to fix, but to learn what support felt like. A voice asking, what do you need? The cabin's fire popped, sparks dancing. The recipe book's cover charred, its spine broken. The expense log, printed, sat in the box, a truth I'd wield soon. Diane's silver spoon flashed, her sneer, her control, a relic I'd return. The air carried smoke, resolve, the faint tang of ink from my past. Their Christmas call, their panic, their lies, all distant, irrelevant, burned. Hannah's text lingered. A crack in their wall, a seed I'd nurture later. The box's lid closed, its contents hidden, a spark for their New Year's reckoning. I didn't rage, didn't mourn, didn't look back. I built, I walked, I breathed. The snow fell thicker, the stove's glow brighter, my shadow sharper. They thought I'd carry, I'd fix, I'd stay. But I didn't lift, didn't bend, didn't belong to them. The cabin was mine, my tradition, my peace, a table set for one. The fire's embers pulsed, the box waiting, the world quiet, ready for what I'd unleash next. What rises when you burn the chains that held you down? Hannah's New Year's photo hit my phone, paper plate sagging under store-bought turkey, a table bare, chaotic. I, Clara Hayes, leaned back in my cabin, the wood stove's glow flickering, snow piling outside, my recipe book's ashes long settled. The caption read, Improv New Year's, miss our MVP. The comments flooding, raw, revealing, where's Clara's spread? Y'all fumbled the queen. Diane's silver serving spoon, once her crown, was gone. No glint, No trace, her reign undone. The family chat buzzed, a frenzy, unraveling. Who forgot the dessert? Nana's flight's delayed, anyone know? Marcus's email landed, pleading, Clara, we screwed up, can we talk? I didn't open it, didn't reply, didn't flinch. The filing cabinet stood locked, its steel cold, my systems erased, their world tilting without my hands. My absence wasn't punishment, wasn't spite, wasn't a game. It was a mirror reflecting their greed, their neglect, their truth. I sipped coffee, its steam curling, the cabin smelling of pine, embers, solitude. The recipe book's ghost lingered, its wedding cake page burned, Marcus's $2,000 theft a scar I'd exposed. Their table was empty, no centerpiece, no order, because I wasn't there to fill it, to fold it, to fix it. The comments stung them, public, unsparing. Clara was the glue. They don't deserve her. Hannah's post glowed, her words a crack, her apology a seed now blooming. I opened a drawer, pulled an envelope, addressed it to Diane. My pen scratching, steady, deliberate. The expense log sat beside it, printed final. A truth I'd send with something sharper. The chat's chaos grew, their voices clashing. Who's got the car rental? Why's the budget gone? They scrambled, they bickered, they begged. But I didn't mend, didn't lift, didn't care. The air carried frost, resolve, the faint ink of my intent. Marcus's email blinked, his desperation clear, a thief caught, a brother lost. Flashbacks faded, soft, distant. Diane's sneer, her spoon, her control. Marcus's smirk, his profit, my labor. My birthday, their photos, my absence. The log's numbers whispered, dollars I'd spent, points they'd stolen, a debt they'd never repay. The envelope's seal waited, its contents a spark, a blade, a farewell. Hannah's comment lingered. Miss our MVP. Her voice rising, others joining. A tide I didn't need but noted. The stove crackled, the envelope ready, the snow falling thicker, my shadow calm, unshackled. They thought I'd return, I'd carry, I'd stay, but I didn't bend, didn't break, didn't belong. Their table was theirs, their mess, their mirror. I addressed the envelope, my fingers steady. The next move mine, the final cut coming. What do they lose when the one who held it all sends one last truth? I sealed the envelope, the silver serving spoon inside, its engraved initials glinting, a relic of Diane's reign. I, Clara Hayes, stood in my cabin, snow cloaking the windows, the wood stove's embers pulsing, my breath steady, free. The next Christmas was mine. A tradition carved for one. Seared salmon, a glass of wine, no recipe book, its ashes long scattered. The filing cabinet sat empty, its digital ghosts deleted, my systems erased, their chaos no longer my chain. I tucked a note in the box, my pen scratching, deliberate, final. Serve your own meals, I'm done. The envelope addressed to Diane carried the spoon, her scepter, now my verdict. I mailed it, no fanfare, no farewell. The postbox's clang a quiet hymn. Diane's call came, shrill, insistent. I let it ring, unanswered, fading. Marcus texted, Clara, let's talk. I muted him, his words dust. Hannah messaged, soft, clear. You taught me to stop bleeding for them, thank you. I smiled, sipped my wine, the glass cool, the snow falling, silent. Enough. The cabin smelled of cedar, salmon, peace, the stove's warmth a shield, my shadow sharp, unshackled. One recipe page remained, tucked in a drawer, my salmon dish, rewritten for me, a tradition born from ash. The expense log, printed, mailed with the spoon, listed every dollar I'd spent, every point they'd stolen, a truth they'd choke on. Diane's sneer flashed, her spoon, her control, now returned, rejected, hers to wield alone. Flashbacks dimmed, soft, distant. The Thanksgiving table, her takeout jab, their silence. Marcus's wedding, his profit, my labor. My birthday, their photos, my absence. The recipe book's fire had burned them away, its weight lifted, my hands light. The filing cabinet's lock gleamed, its emptiness a victory, my systems theirs no more. Hannah's words lingered, a bridge I'd cross later, her growth a mirror to mine. The envelope's journey played, its delivery a spark, their reckoning unwatched, unneeded. The stove crackled, the wine's tang sharp, the snow thicker, my world quiet, complete. They thought I'd bend, I'd carry, I'd stay. But I didn't lift, didn't mend, didn't belong. I cooked, I lived, I thrived. The spoon was gone, the log sent, the past buried. Their table, their chaos, their loss, all theirs, not mine. The recipe page glowed. My own, a vow to myself, a meal for one, forever enough. The cabin's glow held me. The snow fell, the future open, my hands ready for what I'd build next. What do you become when you set a table only for yourself? There comes a moment when silence speaks louder than any outburst. When walking away isn't surrender, but a declaration that you finally see your worth. Sometimes the deepest shift doesn't come from confrontation, but from choosing yourself in a way that's quiet, deliberate, and unshakably clear. It's not about revenge in the dramatic sense, it's about withdrawal, about reclaiming your time, your peace, your energy from people who mistook your giving for a guarantee. When you stop showing up in all the invisible ways, picking up the pieces, remembering the details, filling in the blanks, you find out who was really paying attention. And more often than not, you learn they weren't. But that doesn't mean you failed. It means you've finally stopped asking for validation from a room that never clapped. That realization can hurt, but it's also the doorway to a new kind of freedom. One where you no longer apologize for resting, for declining, for saying, that's not mine to carry. You don't need to burn bridges to build boundaries. Sometimes you just stop reinforcing the weight others placed on you and let the cracks speak for themselves. And when they ask where you went, remind yourself gently, you didn't disappear. You just came home to yourself. Thank you for sitting with this story. If it stirred something in you, if you've ever felt unseen while holding everything together, just know you're not the only one. There are so many of us who've loved quietly, carried too much, and finally learned to set it down. If you've lived a version of this, I'd be honored to hear from you. Feel free to share in the comments. Your voice matters here. And if stories like this help you feel a little more understood, a little less alone, you're welcome to like, share, or subscribe. Only if it feels right. I'll keep sharing more stories that speak to the strength found in stillness and the power of choosing yourself. Until next time, take gentle care of your peace. You deserve that and more.